Welcome to the next episode of Small Business Chat. We're talking about sounds, we're talking about names. Can you trademark a name? Can you trademark a sound? And as always, joins me Mr. Matt. How's it going today?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Day after the election, the sun's shining, the birds are chirping. I'm just joking.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that word because then like we can't boost the podcast, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Only if it's in the title. I don't think they actually listen to it. Anyways, so yeah, so we're talking today about one of the things that brought us to us attention. We just got to get more updates from Beyonce, but she's still trying to trademark her. I think it's her daughter's name, Blue Ivy.
Yeah.
She's trying to get trademarked. So that brought up the discussion between Matt and I. Can you trademark your name? Is it possible to get your name trademarked? What kind of struggles can you go through trying to get that name trademarked through the USPTO? And what does that mean for your small business if you're trying to trademark a name and protect it? So and also Matt enlightened me the other day, which is can you trademark a sound, specifically the sound of a Porsche, which I would assume it just goes vroom vroom, but maybe it does something special. So
I just thought it sounded
Matt,
like a bag of jackasses driving by, but yeah, whatever. Sorry.
have you ever owned a
That's
Porsche,
sorry.
Matt?
I actually know people that have Porsches or whatever the heck it's called. And I think actually they're great cars now. They used not to be, but they're great cars. And I even like the people that own them now. Used not to be that way. But I'm a kid of the 80s, so what do I know? But yeah, so we can touch on all these sort of things. Which one you want to jump into first?
Let's try. Well, I guess this we're talking about the sound department. I guess let's talk about a Porsche. So, I mean, have you? So you never own a Porsche, just the good old Maserati?
Yeah, that's just that. But I've thought about ordering because they're fantastic cars. Like, my wife has a friend that has two of them, and I can tell you, like, now they freaking rock. She's got a 12 cylinder, although I would say it looks sort of like that, like how everyone has like that small SUV that they all sort of look the exact same. It's sort
Right.
of just like a hatchback, small SUV. Porsche has one, but hers is like 12 cylinder. That thing is throaty. She's a neonatologist and she is, a really cool person. But she loves her cars. And, that thing, you don't look at it, looks like sort of like a mom mobile, but it would probably take like 97% of the cars off the line that are out there driving around because it's just freaking 12 cylinder Porsche for the love of God. It's, she just goes. But they're cool cars. I mean, I gotta give it. And their reliability is fantastic. What do you think about the sound? Would you recognize the sound of a Porsche driving by if I, Jacob, here, let me come in close on this one. If I blindfolded you and, you know, put you next to a road and let you listen to cars go by, sorry, I couldn't go.
You
Do
had
you
me
think
at
you could actually
blindfold.
pick out what car noises do you think you could pick out?
I would say maybe I mean, I haven't heard too many like sports cars right next to, like in person, whichever. I mean, most cars sound similar when you're, just listening to them on like
Oh,
YouTube or
oh,
whichever,
oh.
or in movies and
It's a
stuff.
death to trademark rights right there, but please continue.
I would say probably, I mean, I wouldn't probably be able to tell the difference. I'm also not really a big car guru, so I don't really know the specific differences, but I don't think so. I mean, I know my dad used to own a Porsche 911 back in the day. And I remember when he picked us up from school one day and we got in the back seats because usually used to drive us to school and pick us up every day.
You
And
fit in the back seat of a Porsche.
that's the thing I was about to bring up next is I
Sorry.
hated it because me and my sister, I mean, we were pretty young. We was in like elementary school whenever he picked us up, but I remember hating it because I was like, Dad, I can barely fit back here. My dad's a bigger guy, so
Yeah.
it was kind of hard to fit in the back there, and my sister hated it too. So I don't think he got rid of it because of us, but maybe it was a contributing factor. But
Just so
it was
our
fun. It was
listening,
fast.
yeah, just so our listening public is aware, you're what, 6'2", 6'3", something like that?
Yeah, 6'2", 6'3". Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know how you'd squeeze in the back of a Porsche except that like your legs were like, I guess to the side or something. I have no idea.
Right. Right.
But anyways, but yeah, so sorry. So I guess it was only front seat action for you. But anyways, so yeah, but coming back to the whole thing, you said you're not much of a singer. I like So the first thing is just for people to know, can you actually do it? The answer generally speaking is yes, but it's going to
How
be
would you even
viewed.
file for it? Like, how would you file for audio?
There's
Or
a specific way that you can actually upload a sound bite in the actual patent and trademark office. Now, of course, I haven't done this in years and years and years. But I know that there was a way, at least back in the olden days, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when Harley Davidson first came into the patent and trademark office and did it. Like, I think that you have to basically, this is back in the olden days when you actually had paper applications as opposed to the current modern system the patent and trademark office has. So I think the original way they filed for a Harley Davidson, the sound of a Harley Davidson, a Harley motorcycle, was they actually file a paper application, but in the description of the mark and then the mark itself, it's listed as the sound of a Harley Davidson. And they submitted an MP3 clip, if you know what that is, the digital media file, probably on a thumb drive, and they sent it down in a piece of, an envelope to the Patent and Trademark Office, and they were able to review it and then whatnot. But it's not just the sound, but the big thing when you deal with sounds, trademarking colors and all that sort of stuff, sounds, unique trademarks is they are always deemed to be non-inherently distinctive. What does that mean? It means that you're going to have to prove that, through secondary means that they are distinctive. What does that mean? You got to submit a survey from people or something like that, showing that when they hear that distinctive sound, they go, that was a Harley Davidson that just passed us by. Or in this case, oh, that was a Porsche that just passed us by. And so attorneys, generally bigger law firm attorneys, know how to basically get survey evidence done. Honestly, any attorney worth his weight in salt knows you could get a survey to literally say anything. You get an expert to literally say anything. As a former trial attorney, I can guarantee you that. But that's how you would actually do it. You submit an application to the Patent and Trademark Office. Probably today they have a way to just upload the audio file in an application. I don't know. I've never really seen the application online these days. But you upload it, and then you're going to get probably an office action or something back that says, okay, prove the secondary meaning to us. And you start the dance in that regard, right?
okay, got it. So that's how you would get it filed with the USPTO.
Yeah.
Would it it's not copyrightable. I mean, if that's even a word? Is can you
Yeah, it is
copyright it
today.
at
What the
all?
hell? Yeah. I don't think you could. Okay, I see what you're saying. No, I don't think you could get the actual copyright for it because it would just be a sound bit. Copyright would protect,
Because
original works of
songs.
artistic expression. But yeah, I don't think copyright. So I think you could trademark it because again, Harley got it done. They got it done. Like so for instance, I'm thinking about, like my thing when I think of like a deep, I think guttural is the wrong word, but just like that deep like motor, excuse me, muscle car. What my discerning ear couldn't tell the difference between a '65 Mustang and a whatever Ford Fairlane or whatnot. But I've got guys in my poker group. I got one guy in particular. I almost guarantee you he probably could listen to that and he'd probably be like, "Oh, well, there's a whatever with a four barrel and what?" And you're like, "Jesus, dude." But he's not the average consumer. I think it's got to be in the mind of the average consumer. They're going to recognize it. So when you hear that Harley go down the road, I mean, you can hear it. When you hear that, that thunderous Harley go down the road, that's a Harley. In all fairness, I thought that was a very fair trademark. Porsche, man, I don't know. I'm sure they have great lawyers. I'm sure that they would be able to get it through because they can, pump survey evidence in and that would work. But so what you need to do is you have to apply for your sound, upload a copy of the sound bite to the Patent and Trademark Office, and then prove to them through survey evidence or otherwise that when somebody hears that sound, they think of your product. In this case, Porsche Motor Company or the Harley Davidson Motor Company. Oh, that's a Harley going by. Oh, that's a Porsche. And then you get rights for in the sound, so others cannot mimic that sound. Um, by the way, on an aside, I think one of the reasons why Harley Davidson did it was because I think some of the foreign manufacturers of motorcycles were attempting to, in essence, install mufflers on their bikes that they sort of looked like, what I would say is that classic American 1950s looking, bike like that is personified by the Harley Davidson brand. But what they were trying to do is they would make these and they were a quarter the price of Harley Davidson's, and then they would, configure the muffler and the exhaust system such that they even sounded like a cool bike. And I think Harley Davidson was trying to preclude them from doing that because they're like, no, 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 that's our sound. You can't do that. So I think that's how this all, emanated. Why a Porsche would need to do this, uh, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'll be candid with you. My Maserati, I think, has a relatively distinctive sound. You mentioned that I have one. I've got a Maz, and but my neighbor recently bought like a Subaru sports car, and when she starts like my when I start up my Maserati, you've been to my house. It's a nice home. When
It
I
is.
start it up,
Mhm.
my entire house rumbles. Like I mean, you're like, holy crap. I mean, it's being started in the garage to the remote start because you feel it. I will tell you when my neighbor starts her Subaru, I can hear it, and I'm like, I can't distinguish the difference between it and the Maserati. I mean, I'm like, so again, maybe it's my discerning ear. I don't know the timing and the pistons firing and the different anything, but the relevant consuming public, if they do, you can get it trademarked.
Awesome. Okay. So, this brought to light now. I mean, I've been turning down people with names of or with sounds all the time. I'm just joking. I haven't
What?
been. Nobody's,
What?
to be honest with you, Matt, nobody's
Run the
actually, I
card.
don't think has come to me yet asking if they can trademark the sound of something yet. So maybe it's
Sounds
just
are very unique.
um
I've been doing this for 20 something years, and I don't believe I've ever been approached with a sound either. Because think about who, I mean, who we just mentioned, Harley Davidson,
It'd
and
have to be
Porsche.
pretty distinctive. Yeah.
Distinctive and large companies, and such. And our bread and butter has never been large companies. We focus and are amazing at helping small businesses. But we're not, our services just don't line up with large companies because that's just not who we really focus on.
Right, right. And have you ever watched the movie Risky Business?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
Porsche? There is no substitute. Still one of my favorite lines in any movie. Whenever he took his dad's car,
Yeah. That and
was
what's
awesome.
and when he gives it back to him, who's the U-boat commander?
Right?
You remember when he sunk the car and like you're just like, oh my God. And
Somehow
you're
got
like,
that fixed, which I don't even know, is that even possible?
from
Um,
what I understand, like the biggest challenge of that would actually have been what I've heard is the entire electrical system is gone when you sink a car like that. And so and they're just never the same. Yeah, you just have to completely, that's why the insurance, it's more money to fix than otherwise. But you're just like whatever. And by the way, he did get into Princeton. I can tell you for her firsthand, the way he got into Princeton doesn't work. I'm not gonna elaborate.
yeah, I don't think that would have ever flown. Um,
I'll just say I did not get into Princeton.
all
Sorry.
right, awesome. So I think we covered the how what you can do to trademark a sound. How about a name? So I've had that a lot, quite a bit actually. There's a lot of people that try to trademark their name, or the only issues I've seen is people trying to trademark somebody else's name. And one of the things where they get kicked back the most is it identifying a specific living individual. Then you have to spin a specific form for that. But yeah, so that's one thing that some people do run into. Are you trying to trademark the name of Michael Jordan, for example, but you're not Michael Jordan? You might have some issues. But Beyonce is trying to trademark the name Blue Ivy. So she's still going through the process with that. So Matt, is it possible you think she's going to get this trademark?
Yeah, I think she can. I mean, so long as no one else already has it trademarked, like
But what
I think
but
we
what
talked.
could she use it? What could she use it in relation to any part of her company or what she's trying to do? If it's a trademark, it's got to have a brand or sell a good or service. So how do you think she's going to be able to manage that?
Yeah, I mean, just, well, first and foremost, just to reserve the right to make sure that nobody else ever trademarks it. Remember, they have the ITU system, so you can keep a trademark application alive without ever actually having used the goods for, I'll be candid with you. Um, the system will tell you, was it 3 years, 3.5 years? You file it, you got 8 years, or excuse me, 8 months till they examine it, give or take, and then you get your first office action or whatever. Then let's assume you get a statement of use. It's 6 months each time. It's up to 3 years from the time you get. So you can probably keep right now, just without even blinking an eye. You could probably file for a trademark for your name and keep it alive for 4 years, without using it on anything. You just have to pay the government filing fees for what you intend to use it on. And then should you ever roll out a product, just keep it rolling. And it can be expensive, especially if you did all 42 classes. Just forget, no, 45 classes now, right? There's 45. Holy crap. 45 classes times whatever. It would be expensive as heck if you wanted to do that. But I'm thinking, and I'm going to spitball here a little bit. Okay, going on a limb. I'm
Oh
pretty
no.
sure the government filing fees for Beyonce and Jay-Z are attainable. I think they can probably afford them. I think they're doing
You
okay.
think out of the billions of dollars that they have
I
combined
think they
together, you
could
think?
probably, yeah, I don't think they're going to be excluded just on a year from, financially. I think, they've, and in mad respect to both of them, they've worked hard. They deserve it. But, I don't think so. That's not a problem for them. For the average business person, I think that is something you do have to look at your intellectual property budget because, what's the current patent and trademark office filing fee? Is it like 250,
Three
350?
350 for an RF, 250 for
Yeah.
a T's plus.
Yeah, and again, sorry, I'm not really, in on that anymore. But it's so 350. So, in worst case scenario, they've gone and they've applied for their, daughter's name in all 45 classes, 350 times all 45 classes. Well, you're the mathematician, Jacob. I'll let you do that at some juncture. It's a lot of money for most of us, but for them, it's just like, okay, we're not
Drop in
getting
the
10
bucket, yeah.
whatever, and such.
Not
But
even that.
yeah, there's like, yeah, whatever, but yeah, you can trademark it. I mean, like you said, you're just gonna have to, if it's a name of a living individual, and especially if it's not you, you're gonna have to basically submit a consent form to like, yeah, I do have the consent of Michael Jordan to register the name. And it's fascinating because we always talk about urgency and should you rush down the minute you get like an idea for a new trademark and should you I gotta be candid with you. I can think of few trademarks that I think that consumers should truly rush and get a trademark on file for than their own names, especially if they think that they're going to be some type of persona or something. Because think about it, like if you're an examining attorney and you got a trademark for Michael B. Jordan for shoes, okay, you gonna are you gonna like and assume for a second there's some other guy named Michael B. Jordan that probably also has a trademark for shoes? Is the addition of the letter B going to be sufficient to avoid likely of confusion? What do you think? No, no
It
freaking
could
way,
be
man.
because they're fairly close. I mean, but so
Mm-mm.
so it would be just because the inclusion of a B? No, it wouldn't be.
No, freaking no way.
Yeah.
And so when I think about that, I'm like, so for me, especially if I'm gonna like if I'm an actor, but even if not even not because there's very few actors out there, so to speak, compared to the entire population. But for small business owners, especially if you intend to take, a front and center, like, thing like, I'll take one of the greatest entrepreneurs I know of in this country, Mark Cuban. Like, I don't know if he puts his name on any of the packaging of all the different companies and all that sort of stuff he invests in, and such. But I mean, but like, if I were Mark Cuban, it seems to me like he's just an all-around great guy and obviously extraordinarily intelligent. But is there a value for him to actually like, have trademarked his name at some juncture in connection with, I don't know, reality shows or something? He would probably tell you no, what's the point? Because again, there are statutes you can have a false association with a, a known person or something like that. And if, someone goes out there and trademarks it, but to me, it's almost along the lines of if I'm ever going to be like, so for instance, I can remember the trademark company back in the day when it was a law firm we had multitudes of either celebrities or pseudo celebrities, B-listers, and such, and they would all come in and trademark their name. A lot of times, we could do it a lot of times. Somebody was already out there using it. But if I'm intending on going out there and being, sorry, one's popping in my head, and I can't say the actual real name, but the a famous astrologer, okay, and I'm going to be like, well, Matt, Swires, whatever, famous astrologer. I need to get out there and trademark that because of our Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan thing. Because what happens if I start, promoting on my videos and all that sort of stuff, and suddenly I find out there's some other Matt Swires spelled slightly differently out there that's had their name trademarked for very similar services. Holy crap, I actually can't use my own name. That's a reality to do those services. And so I think that there is a little bit of pressure and don't you agree? To get out there and get your name registered as soon as possible. If you're going to do this, like a pseudo celebrity or something.
Why, yeah, exactly. I mean, it just I guess it all depends on when you're starting to get popular. I mean, I'm not trademarking my name, right now because there's obviously no reason to. So I guess, I mean, yeah, I guess it's really difficult for maybe for artists that are just coming up to trademark their names, involving their business. So yeah, I get it just because it all just depends on when you want to do it. So yeah,
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 maybe you should
absolutely.
trademark your name. I know a guy.
Oh, do you do? Would you
Yeah, I
waive
know
my
a
government
guy.
fees?
I know a guy that can help that out, right?
You little guy, yeah.
I know a guy. Oh my God.
All right, guy.
I went to school in the Northeast. I cannot tell you how many times I know a guy came up in a meeting and I'm just like, I know, we know the same guy. And he
Mm.
doesn't like you anymore. So it's not that doesn't help me anymore. But anyways, but yeah, you can trademark a name. Coming back full circle, you can trademark a sound, trademark a color. You know, you can trademark. There are a lot of unique things that you can actually trademark and such. But again, I digress. Right?
Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, we're gonna keep it pretty short here today. Just had that to talk about as well. So we had a really great topic discussion today. So unless there's anything else you want to say to the people, Matt, we're gonna close it out here. We look forward to next week's podcasts. We usually always find something interesting to talk about, whether it be news related or just like today, just a little topic discussion about can you trademark something. So for educational purposes. So other than that, this episode again is always like always sponsored by the Trademark Company. If you need any help getting something trademarked, especially a name or a sound of something, just give us a call. Even if it's something as silly as a fart, give us a call.
You had to.
But
You had to.
I had to. But all
That
right.
stinks.
So thank you. It stinks, yeah. All righty. Well, thank you for anyone that's listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a great one.